Hey Gemini, what's up? We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Six of Pentacles, and we also have Six of Cups. Hearing O making noise back there. We also have Judgment, Nine of Swords, Five of Swords, Split Division. When it comes to the way that we would move when we're feeling empowered, faithful, believing in ourselves, trusting in ourselves, our judgment, what we're sensing, what we're feeling, what we're assessing, that moves in one direction. And then when fear gets involved, it feels like that splits things into a different direction, and you really get to choose where you go here. With Nine of Swords and Five of Swords, I do feel like fear sort of splits something apart. So rather than feeling like there's a solid conclusion here, you can feel like it actually adds some conflict into some decision making and assessing. But that can be part of what you're looking into precisely as well. I feel like this is connected with how fear, the anticipation of things going in a poor direction can split your logic in half. Maybe feel like things don't make so much sense, or it feels kind of divisive the way that this happens, the way that this feels, the way that this impacts the way that you're looking at things. When we have Six of Pentacles, this is about reciprocity. This is feeling like I'm doing my part, they're doing their part, this functions well, this works well. When we have that Six of Cups, this is a feeling that's reminiscent of that. Judgment is about taking a close look at this. What works, what doesn't work. When we have Nine of Swords, there can be something coming up that we are feeling sort of anticipating the collapse of something, or even the deconstructing of something, or the decomposing. And within that, we can feel kind of fear-stricken by that, or anxiety-stricken, or worry-stricken, or it can be a time where we feel like we're not thinking so clearly. In a way, Judgment almost feels like rising above the duality of this. Maybe to get to a clear perspective, more of a bird's eye view here. Seeing the big picture of what's at play. Do you get the feeling of something somewhat sentimental sort of freezing over here? Like, we have Six of Cups and we also have Ten of Swords, which can feel like there was a point in time when things were feeling nice, but then having that Ten of Swords there can feel like some weird turn or weird twist that things are taking. And it can feel like things go from, I don't know, maybe a feeling of things having reciprocity to then not feeling like that's there anymore. Like things are working, things are functioning well, and then like everybody's benefiting, and then it feels like that's not the case. Then it feels like something is happening that's just not what's taking place anymore. I'm seeing Leo here, and I'm also seeing Pluto. I don't think that this is something easy to take a look at. It can be necessary, though. how to feel sentimental about the future in a realistic way. But in a way where it maybe feels nice to think about it, maybe not so clouded by pessimism. That's what I think when I see Three of Wands and Six of Cups. It's like a future that I can appreciate, a future that I can connect with, a future where reciprocity really is there, and that's what's being worked towards. When we have Six of Pentacles and we have Ten of Swords, it can be like there was hope for reciprocity, maybe there even was reciprocity, maybe it was beneficial for everybody, maybe it was working for everybody, and then something happens and that's not really the case anymore. Like something is going on and now that's not what's at play any longer. Let's see, because I want to clarify. I do feel with Six of Pentacles and Three of Wands, I feel like reciprocity is in your future. There's no doubt about that. Like that's where things are building towards. I want to see where this Ten of Swords came from. Like what happened that made things change? A weird disconnect, like a disconnection from self actually, and for many of you, you can be seeing this play out with another person. I just get the feeling that having Six of Pentacles come before Ten of Swords and having Ten of Swords follow the Six of Pentacles feels like this is the place where we're supposed to show up and everyone's doing their part and everybody's benefiting and everybody's getting what they need, and something happened where that is not what came to fruition. And that could have left a feeling of being emotionally jumbled. Maybe feeling like this is a difficult thing to maneuver through. Interesting. Ten of Swords is going in with the Devil. Maybe there was a way of trying to make things happen that was like synthetic in some way. Is that the right word? I feel almost like something could have looked like it would work, but not all of the necessary pieces were there, but there may have been something going on where that was being overlooked for some reason. It's like the outcome didn't feel authentic because something inauthentic was going on. And I feel like a good feeling came to an end. Like that Six of Cups and then Ten of Swords is things go from feeling very merry and connected, merry like M-E-R-R-Y, merry and connected and sustainable even, and then having that Ten of Swords there is like, well, that sort of goes out the window now. Like something has happened and it even feels like no return. And there may need to be I think just taking a closer look to assess what's going on here. I don't even feel like it's saying to do anything. Like you don't need to take action in some sort of physical way. This feels like you need to take action in like a mental analysis type of way, to really look at this and to check in. If you want the future to contain the type of emotional reciprocity that you're looking for, where you feel like it's rooted and grounded in something sweet that you would appreciate experiencing, there's a need to be brave here and to follow your heart, even though it can feel scary. But at the same time, it's like, it's something that you look at look into and you're like, what direction is that going in? What's going to be happening? It's like Two of Cups is on the other side of that, and that's actually what you would want here. So past your fear, beyond your fear, is the Two of Cups, which feels like I'm both at one with myself and also at one with this person next to me, rather than feeling there's division when it comes to the vision of the future here. Because I do even get the sense of, if you are in a place of reciprocity with yourself where you're showing up and you're meeting your needs, it means also too that this relationship is going to be reflective of that. But wherever it is that you're not showing up and you're not showing up for yourself, it creates division and discord between you and this person. And there's a need to take a look at that and see what's going on. I feel like this is one of those times where you can be having an issue within a relationship, and if you were to look at the relationship and assess it and say, what do I need to do over here? It feels like it's a top-down approach, and I feel like you could actually get to the catalyst of this if you were to look at the dynamic with yourself and say, what's going on? Where is there a misalignment with my values? And needing to bring that back together, and then everything else will end up falling into place after that. So you don't need to go, that's like the furthest back you can get. So then everything is going to ripple out from that and be aligned. It will be a match. And that's really what's necessary here. And that's going to bring things together so there won't be sort of like a conflicting vision of where things are going anymore. You won't feel like there's a pointing in every direction, but nobody's pointing in the same direction. Something here happens and it can shake you. It can feel startling. And I get that feeling of going from Six of Cups, where everything does feel like good and I love it here and this is the best feeling. And then when you have that Ten of Swords, it feels like the rug gets pulled out from underneath you and then it turns into a nightmare rather than a dream. And that can feel very startling and abrupt when it happens, and it feels like the feeling of that being scary doesn't allow us to see through that to what's going on, because something here needs to be seen. Because it feels like it's not allowing us to see presently. If you're like so caught up in those past memories of things and not looking at something presently, it's kind of like a slightly ironic situation, because when something's going on that we don't like, we can think about good times because we don't want to be present to what's going on. But the only way we can change the present situation is to look at it presently, so we can reestablish things being the way that we want them to be. But if your head is sort of lost in the clouds, or the person that you're dealing with is sort of lost in the clouds in a place other than the present moment, you have to be present to work on what's presently going on. But it may feel uncomfortable to do that because it's like, I don't like what's going on presently. But without that, it's like being solely stuck in the past, while also like actually being in a present that you don't appreciate, but not changing it because you're in the past and not present. Like, you have to be in the present moment in order to look at this, to see what's going on, and to change things back into the direction that you want them to go in. It's like if you're in a situation and you don't like being in it, like let's say you like fell down a ditch, okay? There can be a part of you that maybe your coping mechanism is to sort of like dissociate and go back into a time that you loved, versus if you would just be present, even though it can feel really uncomfortable to do that, you can figure out a way to get out of that hole and be back on track here. But you're going to need to be present to look around and see how to remove yourself, like how to dig yourself out of it, or like climb out of that. But if you're refusing to be present within this, you're going to be, part of your consciousness is not going to be present. And so there's going to be that sort of like pulling away that happens. And it feels like just further distance from yourself presently. And so you can feel more and more discord with yourself. when actually, like, moving forward, you can bring things back into a place where you feel like it's all right again. When we have judgment and strength connecting with each other, for some reason, the hardest thing to do is for you to look at things presently how they are. I don't know why it's so difficult to do that, other than it feels like it can bring up something that doesn't feel good to be in, but I feel like you have to feel it and let that motivate you to change things, and that things really, I'm seeing Two of Cups in the future. So this feels like with Nine of Swords, there can be this concern, like, what if it's all horrible? Like, what if it goes this way? What if I don't like what happens? And I'm seeing the Two of Cups be there. So Two of Cups is the ideal feeling. So that's what is in your future. So wouldn't you want to, like, take the steps to get things moving? Because you're just holding things off from being in that place of the Two of Cups by not taking a closer look at this. It's like if that experience that you want is around the corner, but what you're doing is stagnating and not moving anywhere because you need to be present in order to take those next steps. You're just holding yourself off from getting that thing that's around the corner. Like, you have to take the steps to get around the corner. And this feels like not wanting to be present to the steps because of not liking what's going on in those steps that need to be taken, but then it ends up delivering what you want. So needing to walk through that. And needing to see this too, to see through the fear, to see through the pain, that things can swing into what you want here, and that things can go back to how you want them to be. That it's not some, like, far-fetched thing here. You just have to work through the unpleasantness of this. And to allow yourself to be heart-led through this. Because in your heart, with strength and judgment, this is your soul saying, let's take a look at this, let's figure it out, let's make the plan, and let's do the thing. And then you see things really come back together, so that discord doesn't need to be there anymore. What you want can be part of where you're going. There's just a need to allow this moment here to end, to get there, to go into that next moment. This may be a moment where you're like, well, I don't particularly like this moment. You don't realize that by not being present, you're just prolonging it. You come into the present. You know what this reminds me, actually? Okay, so in the movie Fight Club, where the stuff gets poured on the guy's hand and he, like, wants to dissociate so he doesn't have to experience the pain in that moment, like, the lesson in that moment, as best as I can remember anyway, is that there's, like, power in being present to what's going on and being present to the pain, and using that as a motivator to, I mean, in a way that's reflective of this reading. I feel like then to use the pain in an empowering way, where we can take control of things rather than running away from it, and not being present to it. And then it feels like nothing you're just staying forever in that moment because it's not being addressed. So I feel like this is one of those moments where it's like, yes, something painful is going on, something that may be intimidating, scary, may feel like a lot mentally, may bring up anxiety for you. It's like, those are the things that are happening in the present moment. If you will be present to it, you can then go into the next moment, and it can just be, you can go back into the Two of Cups, which is that feeling of wholeness, that feeling of things being together, that feeling of things being replenished, that relationship where the dynamic is there once again. And then there's nothing more to decide because things are how you want them to be. So you don't need to fix anything anymore. I feel too like this is the waves of things where it's like, here is where you like it to be, then it goes down there and you're like, well, I don't really like this, and then it goes back into a period that you like, and then it goes into maybe a moment that you don't like, and then it goes back into, and I feel like you got stuck here. And if you will be present to it, you'll be going into a moment that you like, but you have to be present in order to go to that next moment. You have to like let this moment die to go into that next moment that it's transitioning into. And this feels like I don't want to let it, because it's this feeling of thinking that things are gonna like stay like that when you know that it doesn't. You know, it's like it goes all the different ways that it's going. It's ever changing, and this feels like wanting to stop things from shifting into the next, which again is ironic because it's like you don't like what's happening in this moment necessarily, so wouldn't you want it to turn over into the next moment? Meanwhile, this not being present is just prolonging it. So taking the closer look at this to allow the journey to continue, and inevitably it going into this period that you like. And that's that. Not being present is what is creating the division here. And I understand too why, because it can feel unpleasant to be present to the present moment. However, it's not going to stay like that. The only way that this will stay stagnating is if you refuse to be present. It's kind of, again, like this irony. As soon as you become present to what's going on, it shifts into something else, and then you will like the shift of that. And that's really all that's needed here. I feel too like this can be some like immense mental gymnastics and like overthinking and just avoidance. And if you just be present and tune into this, things will then transition. But there can be a lot of comparison about things in the past too, and that can also be something that's keeping you from being present. Like, why isn't it like it was yesterday? And I liked it the week before, and like all of these things that I feel like are not allowing you to be there, to let this moment die and then see where it goes next and let things reconnect and come back together as they naturally will. And then that division isn't going to be there anymore. But yeah, this can feel like quite uncomfortable the way that this is, because you can feel like you're sort of separated from this. These pieces of yourself can feel separated. The fear and anxiety can sort of be blocking you a bit here, yet I'm seeing everything end up coming back together. So just feels like one of those times where like you may be really identified with your thoughts and with your brain, and this is tapping into something I think maybe a bit more nuanced, and I think like dropping into your heart chakra a bit here and balancing the energy out. Needing to be brave and look at things. I feel too like something happened and you can feel salty about it and just like want things to go back to the way that they were before. And I feel like because something happened that you don't like, you can just assume that that's what the future is going to be like too. But I don't get that sense. It feels like nothing ever stays like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to stay like that. And that may be something that you're not seeing. And maybe also too, there's this feeling of like needing some sort of constancy that's not totally being seen either. There can be this like a forgetting that things sort of come in waves and that it's not like always like that. Once you take a look at this, I feel like the naturally open-hearted part of yourself is going to take a look and then just naturally know what to do, and things will reconnect, and that's it. And inevitably, everything comes back. back into right order. And that's that. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I will catch you guys next time.